Namaste, Jai Hind, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. Article 370 of the Indian Constitution has always triggered heated and polarizing debates, and ever since the Modi government decided to abrogate Article 370 and permanently unify Jammu and Kashmir as an integral part of India and bring forth the entire vision of Ek Desh, Ek Vidhan, Ek Samvidhan, the debate has further exploded. Several petitions have been filed in the Honorable Supreme Court calling the centre's move unconstitutional and accusing the government of high-handedness. But the government has said that it has just corrected a historical wrong and has also highlighted that the Article 370 was a temporary one, an insertion which was meant to be revoked. As the matter came up in the Supreme Court, a heated debate ensued. So can the centre stand legal scrutiny and pass this test of legal scrutiny? Is the Parliament Act illegal? That's the question that we ask, because the Supreme Court has said we are not looking at what's happened in the years since the 5th of August 2019. What we are looking at is purely the legality of what happened on the 5th of August 2019. And it's all about Jammu and Kashmir and the Constitution. The Supreme Court bench has made it clear that the hearings will be held on a day-to-day basis starting the 2nd of August, just 3 days ahead of the 4th anniversary of the abrogation of 370. Barring Mondays and Fridays, they're going to listen to it on a day-to-day basis. That means Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they will hear it. And have also directed the petitioners, respondents and interveners to file all documents, compilations and written submissions by the 27th of July. They have also indicated that they will want to finish the hearing in the course of a month and dispose of the matter by the end of August. Nearly 23 petitions in the Supreme Court to overturn abrogation of Article 370, pleas from advocates like M.L. Sharma, Soeb Qureshi, Muzaffar Iqbal Khan, Rifat Arabat and Shakir Shabir, activists, politicians and ex-bureaucrats. Pleas from members of the Gupkar Alliance, National Conference leaders Mohammad Akbar Lone and Hasnain Masoodi and CPIM leader Yusuf Tarigami. Ex-military officers and ex-interlocutors have also moved the Supreme Court. Pleas from People's Union for Civil Liberties and J&K Bar Association have come to the fore. Activist Shaila Rashid and IS officer Shah Faisal, they have already withdrawn their pleas. So, what are the charges that have been made by some of these petitioners and who are opposing the government's move to abrogate Article 370? They first say the order is unconstitutional, void and inoperative. The petitioners have invoked the doctrine of colorability, which prohibits the passing of legislation seeking to indirectly do something not allowed to be done directly. Petitioners claim Article 370, Section 3 prohibits revocation without a constituent assembly. They also say that presidential order is subject to constitutional scrutiny. Petitioners have also argued Parliament does not have the power to downgrade federal democratic states. Delimitation exercise in Jammu and Kashmir has also been challenged on the ground that it violates the right to equality. The seventh charge is petitioners say right to autonomous self-government is a fundamental right. And the petitioners have highlighted that the abrogation defeats the principle of pluralistic federalism. The government has filed a fresh affidavit in the Supreme Court defending its 2019 move. They have said it's unprecedented development in Jammu and Kashmir, unprecedented security and stability, era of peace and prosperity since 2019, no stone pelting in J&K anymore, zero hartals in Jammu and Kashmir since the abrogation of Article 370, no hartals in schools, colleges now, substantial income for the common man. But Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud making it clear government's fresh affidavit on Article 370 will have no bearing on the constitutional issue and it will not be relied upon for the purpose. The Supreme Court highlighted that the case concerns a pure constitutional challenge. Now coming to the big question, how did the government revoke Article 370? Did the centre flout any norms? Let's try and understand. The government didn't technically revoke Article 370 in the Constitution but used Section 3 in it to effectively nullify it. The revocation therefore did not need a constitutional amendment. Section 3 of Article 370 gives the power to the President to revoke it by a public notification. Since the Constituent Assembly was dissolved on the 26th of January 1957 and with the state under President's rule, the last provision of Section 3 became infructuous because there is no Constituent Assembly. The President could use this power given the President at recommendation of the Constituent Assembly of the state. Since the state was under governor's rule, all the powers of the state's legislature were currently vested with the Parliament of India. As Parliament was in session, government was legally bound to announce the move in Parliament, which they did. Thus, the abrogation of Article 370 was done by presidential order, read in conjunction with consent by the House of Parliament via a simple majority. In fact, it was absolute brute majority. If you remember correctly, 370 parliamentarians voted aye in favor of the abrogation. Now, let's give you a brief history of Jammu and Kashmir and the Constitution. Article 370 of the Constitution was temporary provision under Part 21 of the Constitution, and it deals with temporary, transitional and special provisions. Jammu and Kashmir that was accorded special status under Article 370. In 1947, Hari Singh signs the instrument of accession of Jammu and Kashmir. 1949, Article 370 incorporated in the Indian Constitution. 1951, Sheikh Abdullah is appointed Prime Minister of J&K. 1952, Delhi Agreement signed and J&K gets special powers. 1954, special rights given to the erstwhile State Assembly, created special rights under Article 35A. 1963, Nehru says Article 370 is not a permanent part of the Constitution. 2018, Jammu and Kashmir put under governor's rule after BJP-PDP alliance broke 6 months later. President's rule imposed, extended till December 2019. 2019, Home Minister Amit Shah announcing the repealing of Article 370 in Parliament. Let's go straight into the face-off. Firdous Tak, spokesperson of the PDP with us, and in studio with me is Shehzad Poonawalla, national spokesperson of the BJP. So we've laid the grounds, we've set up the whole aspect of what the argument is, what the counter-argument is. Firdous Tak, 4 years down the line, how does the legality of an act committed in Parliament, an act of Parliament, it's an act of Parliament, how does that come into play?
Well, I think, Anand, as far as the citizen of Jammu and Kashmir are concerned, I think we are hopeful that the highest court of this country will address the issue not in view of the arguments which has been projected and presented by the union government, not only before the Honorable Court, but over the last few years in every state where they had to go for elections. But at the same time, I think there is some concern among the people of Jammu and Kashmir as well, because timing around hearing of the petition is really a matter of concern, because we are almost in the 4th year since the Article 370 was abrogated and state was downgraded to the union territory. We have the petitioners have been pleading for the early hearing over the last 4 years, but the petition never came up for the hearing. But at the time when the general elections are around the corner, the petition is being now heard by the Supreme Court. So there is mix of the response among the people, but still we have hope, and I think we expect justice from Honorable Supreme Court.
But Firdous, there, if I may say that, there are always elections around the corner, and now general elections are nearly more than at least 9 months away. So to cast aspersions on the intent of the Supreme Court, oh, this bench of the Supreme Court is influenced by the government.
Well, you know, this is taking an argument to the most ridiculous proportions. First of all,
I'm just bringing in Shehzad, and then please then you counter.
First of all, Anand, let us understand that what was the prediction that was made, that if Article 370 is abrogated or done away with, there will be a tufan, there will be Khoon ki Nadiya. Instead of that, what we have seen is that from Lal Chowk to Lal Kila, the Tiranga is flying high. ISIS flags have disappeared. They have been replaced by the Tiranga. The fact is that the politics of PPP, Parivarwad, Pakistan Parasti and Patharbaji have now been replaced by DDD, decentralization, where 3 families used to have special status. Today, the Awam of Jammu Kashmir has special status. 34,000 locally elected officials are now in play. We have seen the manner in which DDC elections took place. 50% voting turnout took place out there. Development in 70 years, 15,000 crores was invested. 78,000 crores have now been invested in Jammu Kashmir. The budget of Jammu Kashmir has increased. Terrorism has come down by 45%, 90% reduction in infiltration. education, 97% in crime and law and order situations, and there has been a rise in school enrollment. Today, for the first time, the Valmiki Samaj has got its rights when the entire SC/ST acts have also been applied there. These people, ironically, are the ones who champion the cause of Dalit rights. But today, when the Dalits are getting their rights, they are against it. So, all in all, what has happened is that special status has been taken away from 3 families and it has gone to the people of Jammu
But
Kashmir.
all in all, what
Only
has happened
those
is such a lovely monologue and well prepared, Shehzad Poonawalla, and politically well articulated. It will give you political dividend. But the court has said इससे हमें कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
Now let me
court
come
has
to
come to the fact कि जो आपने उस वक्त किया 4th August and 5th August 2019, is that legal or not?
Let me address that issue also. First of all, the entire architecture to make Article 370 inoperative was always built into Article 370, and the subsection 3 of Article 370 gave the right to actually make it cease to operate, and that mechanism has been used, and it has been used constitutionally. And by the way, there is a precedent to this. When there was a change from, if I remember correctly, Sadre Riyasat to making it the system of chief minister, at that time too the same mechanism was used. At that time, if it was done by Congress, it is chamatkar, and if it is done by current government, one becomes gunegar. This kind of dual standard can't be taken. Point number 1. Point number 2, let the constitutional and the legal matter be examined by the courts and let them come to a view on it. But today we are discussing that was Article 370 beneficial for the people of Jammu Kashmir? The answer is a categorical no. And is it now a better situation where it has become from terrorism hotspot to tourism hotspot? I believe you are also doing a report on G20 and the manner in which it has showcased to the world that Jammu Kashmir is absolutely a place where everything happens normally.
All of that,
I think that should be also spoken about.
No, all of that you can speak about politically. Firdous has 2 points. One point that the argument they are collectively saying is that what you did is unconstitutional. Secondly, what they are saying is the timing of this hearing also seems to be motivated. Firdous, please respond to Shehzad.
Well, Anand, I think the entire debate is now focusing on the political rhetoric by the Bharatiya Janata Party. And I know Mr. Shehzad has done good homework. But what the figures he has projected today is the figure which the right-wing organizations have been circulated on the WhatsApp and Facebook and through other social media networks. Mr. Shehzad Wala has said that Mr. Poonawalla has said that there are 75,000 crore investment has been brought by Bharatiya Janata Party in Jammu and Kashmir. Let him quote a single industry which has been established post 2019 in Jammu and Kashmir. Let he quote one single employment package which has been given to people of Jammu and Kashmir. And now he speaks about the terror incident. Mr. Poonawalla is sitting in Delhi studio and analyzing Jammu and Kashmir situation. He must remember that 163 security personnel laid down their lives in 2019, 174 security personnel in 2020, and even till March 2023, around 121 security personnel have lost their lives. The militancy has spread its tentacles to Jammu region, which was peaceful till 2019. There has been around 10,000 youths have been detained and kept in various jails of the country, even without trial by this present dispensation. The religious and political organizations have been banned. This is the political argument and political narrative Mr. Poonawalla and his party colleagues have been spreading in the country. I invite him to come to Jammu and Kashmir. Let's forget Kashmir. I invite him to come to Jammu and talk to his own party colleagues and learn from them that how Jammu and Kashmir has been isolated, has been punished, and people of Jammu are today up in arms against Bharatiya Janata Party, the very same Bharatiya Janata Party they voted to power, not only in the parliament election, but even in the assembly election.
Right.
Anand, I must say again,
okay, please complete.
The narrative Bharatiya Janata Party is building, I'm just concluding, the Bharatiya Janata Party is building before the Supreme Court is a political narrative, and that is based on lies and fabrication. There is no proof that investment has come to Jammu and Kashmir, the violence has come down in Jammu and Kashmir, and I must add to it that there is a systematic radicalization of youth. The youth of Jammu and Kashmir has reached to the level of frustration. There is no employment. And let me tell Mr. Poonawalla, when he talk about Jammu and Kashmir and Parivarwad, we are the people who are giving employment to around 15 to 20 lakh youth of the country in our unorganized sector of Jammu and Kashmir. We don't have a private sector, but still, till 2019, we had the lowest employment rate in Jammu and Kashmir. Our parameters were better than Gujarat, Delhi, UP and Maharashtra.
Right.
In health, education and all other sectors, despite the militancy.
Okay.
They have been saying that they want to give laptop to the youth of Jammu and Kashmir. But today people, the youngsters are on road because they have been not been able to give any employment to the people of Jammu and Kashmir.
Okay, let Shehzad respond. Yes, Shehzad.
I think Mr. Firdous is absolutely right. इनको आंकड़ों पर भरोसा नहीं, इनको सुप्रीम कोर्ट पर भरोसा नहीं, इनको संविधान पर भरोसा नहीं. तस्वीर दिखा देता हूं. Pictures speak 1,000 words. Firdous Tak ji, ये है तस्वीर. One time there was, zoom कीजिए camera person. One time the separatist elements who were responsible for the murder of IF officers, who was responsible for pushing Jammu Kashmir into the situation they were invited for biryani by Manmohan Singh, and the same person is caught by the scruff of the neck and he's convicted for the murder of people and for the kinds of atrocities he has committed. Firdous ji, I did not interrupt you. Firdous ji, I did not interrupt you. Firdous ji, I did not interrupt you.
Okay, your objection noted, Firdous. I'll allow you. It's just the two of you. One minute. It's just the two of you, gentlemen. Let him complete and then you please come.
But I have a right to respond.
Of course, and I'll give you that right. Please, I will give you that right.
Our debate does not mean that you interrupt me. Secondly, chalo, I'll give you another akada which he has to believe. 80,000 crores was the budget of Jammu Kashmir in 2019-20. Now today it is 1,18,500 crores. Is that not a real figure? 874 projects of roads are going on. 1,000 megawatt, 850 megawatt and 624 megawatt hydro projects are going on. 2 AIMS have been now established. 7 new government medical colleges. 82 lakh beneficiaries under the Shehzad scheme. Are all of these figures wrong? The enrollment of children in schools has gone up. Is this also figure wrong? Forget everything else. Stone pelting is down by 95%. And Mr. Firdous says that unemployment was never an issue. It was full employment in Jammu Kashmir. Then Firdous ji, please tell me, why were people picking up stones prior to 2014? That means it was a theological reason. It was not frustration. So now I ask you, if it was a theological reason, please tell me, Firdous ji, that today, do you accept and are you willing to accept that the manner in which this entire jihad took place against the Kashmiri Pandits, its roots was not in unemployment or any other issue. It was purely a theological issue that was directed against the minorities in Jammu Kashmir? Do you accept that? Point number one. Point number two, I ask you whether you accept that Mr. Yasin Malik has been convicted as a terrorist by the courts. Do you call Mr. Yasin Malik a terrorist? Do you accept that Afzal Guru was a terrorist? Do you accept that Burhan Wani was a terrorist? Or do you consider them as freedom fighters and heroes? First, to answer this last question, because from this, the mindset will be clear.
Let's not go into the mindset, Mr. Poonawalla. If that is the criteria, I can give you several examples where you stand by all the terrorist activities and terrorist accused, which are now senior leaders of your party. Let's not go into it. I hope that this entire debate will be around the legality of the decision and the measure in which the Article 370 was abrogated. But we are again discussing the same thing, same political narrative, the lies and fabrication what BJP has been doing.
So
but
I
will
give
reply
you
to it.
Other
No, I will reply to it. I am replying to your figures. Let me tell you that the hike in the budget allocation, what you are referring, is a fabrication of data, Mr. Poonawalla. You must not be knowing because you are schooled in the Nagpur. The projection which is now being given by the union government about Jammu and Kashmir is by clubbing the central assistant, the assistance under the central sponsor scheme and the state's own budget. And when you divide the two figures, you will realize that there is only 10% hike in the allocation of budget. Let me add to it. Jammu and Kashmir was a special state where the central allocation was always 90:10 ratio. Because of being a Himalayan state, 90% budget allocation was given by this union government and only 10% by the state government. There were only 3 states, 4 Himalayan states in the country which had this special provision, but you abrogated that. And it created problems for Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir was only state where you had 70:30 ratio of the IS officers. You have changed it into 30:70 ratio. You have the youngsters of Jammu and Kashmir had unlimited these attempts in the Union Public Service Commission, the commonly known as IS exam, till they attain the age of 42 years. Because of the situation in Jammu and Kashmir, you have abolished that provision. You have not given any employment package to Jammu and Kashmir. And the figures, Mr. Poonawalla, about the Hydel projects, they are not your project. The AIMS, they are not your project. Highway, they are not your project. Quote me one single project. If you have the RSS and BJP WhatsApp group, quote me one single project out of it which you have sanctioned in last 4 years in Jammu and Kashmir, which you can claim it's our baby. Just quote me one single project and I will accept it.
Can I now come in?
Yeah, please respond.
Of course, as usual, Mr. Tak has not answered the question. Baki sab to chhod dijiye. Mr. Tak, at least one thing you will accept, that today you can go and watch a nice Hindi film right next to your house. That change at least is perceivable, and you can also take your family along there. Earlier it was not possible for the last 3 decades. Let's forget that issue.
God.
I will ask you another question.
God, Mr.
No, Mr. Tak, I did not interrupt you. Mr. Tak, I did not interrupt you.
Stop attending these
Mr.
RSS
Tak, I did not interrupt you.
Stop, you
I
are
did
an
not interrupt you.
person.
Anand, I did not
No.
interrupt you.
One minute. Now, who's now making these jibes, sir?
It will
One minute. Has Mr. Poonawalla, one minute, sir. 1 minute, Firdous, let him make his argument, please. You are going after him.
No, it's a sincere advice to him. He is an intellectual person.
Then, sir, you should also. You are also an intellectual person.
RSS workshop.
Sir, he has not made any personal jibes at you or where your background or where your leanings are. He is making his argument as a political spokesperson. So should you, sir. Now my point is, sir, if you
I sincerely believe that
you are entitled. One minute, sir. You are entitled to have a particular point of view about certain organizations which are not part of this discussion. He has certain point of view of certain organizations that are the bedrock of your standing up there and who have funded your party and also the principles of your party. He is not taking any position on that. He is talking about the Article 370.
Moving next door is development in Jammu and Kashmir.
No, it is a possibility in Jammu and Kashmir which was not there for 30 years. Sir, it is a possibility in Jammu and Kashmir which your governments and successive governments were unable to enable. Were unable to enable, sir. Were unable to enable. The inheritance, right of inheritance to Kashmiri women who married outside Kashmir was denied to them, and it is an unconstitutional provision which was included there. That has also been done away by the courts of this country. Please understand, your government did not do it. Your government did not. Your government did not do it. The rights of Valmikis who were brought there to clean, they were not given since 1957 by successive governments, including the principles of your party and their own entire dynasty. That is another point, Mr. Firdous Tak. But sir, there are a lot of points I can make, political arguments. Before 370, the rights to Gorkhas were not there. The rights to Gorkhas were not there. Before abrogation of Article 370, all the appointments of all the bureaucrats from Kashmir went into Ladakh and went into Jammu. But those from Jammu and those from Ladakh never got promoted. For 15-18 years, they were at the same position. It was all centered in Kashmir and in the valley before the abrogation of Article 370.
That is the problem with you.
No, sir. Sir. You are dictator. I do not want to get it. So there can be a lot of arguments. 1 minute. Let's come back to the legality aspect. Yes, Shehzad Poonawalla.
I will answer.
No, sir. Sir.
This is not the way to...
Sir.
2% debate.
Sir. Firdous, you can take jibes when somebody gives it back to you. You don't like it. Let's not do that. Yes.
At least, Mr. Firdous, for whatever it's worth, you must have the courtesy for me to finish. Because you spoke, I heard out all your diatribe. I did not intervene even once. But this is the Raleef, Salif, Ghalib mindset. Either you do what I say or else you leave. This is the Raleef, Salif, Ghalib mindset. Now let me complete. My point is that there were 52 bunds in 2018. Today, how many bunds have taken place? Firdos ji, aap hi mujhe aakda de do. I won't go by the so-called aakda given by the RSS WhatsApp group according to you. You give me the aakda of how many bunds took place and give me where they took place. You tell me that, I'll consider that there were 52 in 2018. Thereafter, the Pahadi-speaking people were never given the scheduled tribe status despite the fact that the commission had recommended it. Why didn't you give it? No answer. I asked you one simple question that the court, which you want to rely on the constitutionality issue, has convicted Mr. Yasin Malik. No answer whether he's a terrorist. No answer on Afzal Guru whether he's a terrorist. But forget all of that. I will ask you a simple question. Please tell me, what does section 3, subsection 3 of Article 370 say, and what is the heading of Article 370? And is it not on record that Mr. Nehru said कि ये साबुन है घिसते घिसते घिस जाएगा. अब वो घिस गया तो आप उसका मातम मना रहे हैं. भाई अगर ये साबुन था घिसते घिसते घिस जाना था, ये तो नेहरू जी ने कहा था. Was Mr. Nehru wrong? Please tell me.
Well, Mr. Poonawalla, let me reply to first two questions. One, you said that there was no inheritance right to the women who were married outside the state. This is a wrong notion. This is a propaganda by the Bharatiya Janata Party. Every woman who was married to a non-resident was entitled to inherit property. Since
were their children entitled?
Judgment of the Honorable High Court.
Were the children entitled?
No.
They were entitled.
No. The judgment came from who? The Supreme Court of India. The state did not empower it. The judgment, then there was another following judgment in 2014 that then allowed inheritance of the children also. Till then, the children were also not allowed inheritance.
I am saying that this is a long notion that they were not. That's point number one. Number two, you said there was no reservation to the Pahadis. The reservation to the Pahadis was granted during the time when PDP-BJP government was in power. 4% reservation, and that still remains 4% reservation. Your party has only promised scheduled tribe reservation to the Pahadi community. That is a political reservation which has not been granted till date. Every time your leader comes to Jammu, he has been shouting that we are giving it, but that has not been given. With regard to the scheduled tribes political reservation to the Gujar community of the Jammu and Kashmir, there have been in every assembly since 1947. Around 14 Gujar leaders have been part and parcel of the constituent, the state assembly. You have reduced it to 9. From 14 to 9, you have reduced that reservation criteria, because earlier there was no reservation, but the Gujar community, where they were in majority, they were electing their leaders, and around 14 people were always representing the community. And in every cabinet there was at least one Gujar cabinet minister. Let's not argue on this. And now the legal part of it. If you have a strong legal argument, Mr. Poonawalla, why you are not presenting it before the Supreme Court? Why you are going in TV debates and the newspapers and saying we have a strong case? When it comes to filing up the affidavit before the Supreme Court, you just said that we don't have bond.
Move will be
we don't have bond, and we have to argue the case. Our schools are open. You should have presented the legal argument before the Supreme Court, which is hearing.
The legal argument has been presented. So the PDP is also coming on television debate. So are those who have filed a petition in the Supreme Court. They are also coming on television debate. So there is a lot of politics to this entire issue. अभी सर मेरे पास समय कम हो गया. हमारे पास समय नहीं, मेरे पास समय समाप्त हो गया. Sir, there is another debate. There is another opposition party leader who is waiting to discuss yet another issue from yet another state of India, which was perfectly which is perfectly in sync, does not have its own Samvidhan, does not have its own penal code, did not have it even in 2019 since a long time.
Just one.
Right now, I have to pause. Firdous Tak, thank you to the fantastic fiery debate. Thank you very, very much.